to kick off. Kicked one out of bounds earlier that gave the Vikings good field position. Set to start the second half. Nedney kicks it away to Troy Walters at the 4. Walters picks up a block and is ridden down along the sideline at the 23-yard line. In the first half, the Vikings putting up 247 yards of offense as they head for yet another 300-yard offensive game. One turnover for Minnesota. That was costly. 2 for the Panthers. Steve Berline sacked 4 times. Dante Culpepper sacked once. Vikings come out with 2 tight ends. Randy Moss and Chris Carter, the wide receivers, and Robert Smith, the lone setback. John Davis and Johnny McWilliams, the tight ends. Smith gets up to the 25-yard line where Dean Wells, number 95, brought him down. How does Carolina play this second half, Bill? What do you see them doing?
Take away him. Take away number 26 first and foremost. And that's what they needed to start the game with. And they haven't been able to do that thus far. But if they can take him away, take him out of the equation with 6 or 7 guys in the box, then you can concentrate on what comes after that. You can get in your 3rd and longs, you can rush the passer, and you can bracket coverage to 2 big receivers.
Vikings go from the shotgun, 3 wide receivers in, 5 DBs for Carolina. Culpepper gets time and goes deep down the sideline. He's got a man, and it's Matthew Hatchett. No, it's Chris Carter. It's Carter. Eugene Robinson, 2 veterans going at it, and Carter wins that battle.
Well, Carter, here he is in the slot. He comes outside. He's working on Jimmy Hitchcock and slows him down. And that's just enough to get past Eugene Robinson. That little stutter step right there that you saw from Chris Carter was enough to freeze the safety. And then the acceleration back out of it got him by the safety.
And Culpepper's delivery has been outstanding. 53-yard pickup. Vikings go with 2 tight ends. Robert Smith. Nice hole, cuts it back and is down at the 15. The middle linebacker Lester Towns in on the tackle.
Robert Smith, the cut he made to get up into the line, and then then he gets up into the safeties. Watch him. Watch this is like a curly shuffle. He gets up here, now watch him backpedal here for a second. He stops and whoop, 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 whoop. He backs up and then comes back around him when he sees the safety. This guy can put it on the brakes in a second and then get out of it and have the same kind of acceleration and pick up more yards.
The Vikings, 3 touchdowns on the opening drive of the second half. Culpepper short drop. Carter taken out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Doug Evans forced him out. First down, Vikings.
No, most teams give this cushion to Chris Carter, and it's not because of his speed. It's because they like to stay over top of him. But when you stay over top of him and don't get close to him, he'll take that all the time. And the reason they don't like to get close to him is because Carter then uses his body and he feels you. He feels where you are and he gets you turned around. He gets that subtle pull or subtle grab and then bang, there's big separation. They'd rather have the separation in the beginning and play over the top and close on the ball.
Culpepper stepped back. There was some confusion in the backfield with Robert Smith and Harold Morrow there. Culpepper calls timeout for the Vikings on the move. Randy Moss has gone over 1,000 yards receiving this season for the 3rd consecutive season, and he is only the 2nd player in NFL history to do it in his first 3 seasons in the NFL. John Jefferson did it with San Diego 1978 to 1980.
Well, to do that, 1, you've got to be a pretty talented receiver, which he is. 2, you need a pretty talented quarterback, which he has. And 3, a system that goes along with it.
Mo Williams in the backfield with Robert Smith. And they dropped the ball. The dive is on, and another fumble by Minnesota, recovered by the Panthers.
That was the same exact play that Robert Smith scored a touchdown on. That time, Dante Culpepper misses the handoff to Smith. He doesn't get the ball there. That's the quarterback's job, to get the ball to the running back. Nobody else. And if it's not there, then pull it back down. Now, whether he took a wider angle on the delivery Robert Smith did or not, it's still the quarterback's job to get that into his body.
Sean Gilbert made the recovery. Second fumble recovery of the game by the Panthers. Their 13th of the season. They lead the NFC.
Smith didn't even act like he was supposed to get the ball.
Yeah, it seemed like he was a little surprised. Panthers from the 15. Inside of the fullback, Chris Hetherington gets across the 20-yard line. The Vikings called a timeout. They talked things over on the sideline. Then they come up with a miscue.
A miscue, yeah. Now, whether that was supposed to be the reverse and Dante made the mistake here with the handoff, or Robert Smith just acts like he wasn't even supposed to get the ball.
So the Vikings offense, which was moving down in the scoring position, fails to come through, turns it over. Burline, Donald Hayes hit as he caught the ball. Robert Tate with the hit. Hayes with a good catch. And it's a first down for the Panthers.
Well, you can see the cushion Tate's given off, and that's because of the size and the speed of Hayes. But you also see the close on that slant. I mean, he is making contact as soon as the ball's getting there, and that's not the first time Tate's done that today. He's done that several times on that quick slant.
And Hayes is shaken up on the play, slow to get up. Robert Tate, very active. Now, is that good or bad to have a defensive back make that many tackles?
Well, it's bad if he's making those tackles on a running back, because that means the guy's in the secondary. But it's good if he's making them on quick slants like that. Because if he's making them on the quick stuff underneath and closing that fast and making tackles, that's a good situation to have. If he's tackling running backs downfield 20, 30 yards, that's not good.
Hayes goes slowly to the bench. Carl Hankton, second-year man out of Trinity College in Illinois, has replaced him, number 14. Isaac Bird is on as well. 3 wide receivers for Carolina. First down for the Panthers. Brad Hoover got through the hole and is brought down across the 30. Time to update the Lions and the Giants. Back to JB.
Hey, Sam, I know this never happened to Bill Moss. Take a look at Charlie Batch hooking up with Johnny Morton. Now watch number 31, Jason Sehorn. Rule number 1, can't make a tackle if your pants aren't tight. He had to pull his pants up, missed the tackle. It is now 28-7 Lions. Back to Sam Rosen, Bill Moss.
Hey, JB, when I played, my pants were always tight. Trust me. It's kind of like Denny Green in a wetsuit.
Man. Damian Craig with his first carry as a running back. First NFL carry. He is the third quarterback, but he's active for today.
Take a look at Hovan. One thing he tries to do is he tries to be the first to get off the line of scrimmage. Now, that time, he actually got hooked, Sam. Now, you don't like to get hooked. And hook block that's when the offensive lineman gets over top of you and you're sealed off. But what he did was use his quickness. As soon as he got hooked, he shot the back door and made the play from behind.
Have to get to the 37 for a first down. And it is getting loud in the Superdome, and Steve Burline steps back and calls timeout. Loud in the Metrodome in Minneapolis, and Burline's got to talk things over. Allowed Carolina to stay in this game just when it seemed as if the Vikings were set to break it open. That one led to 7 points, and then just moments ago, Sean Gilbert recovered the Culpepper fumble. Well, each team with 2 turnovers in the game.
That's what the whole game's about. Any game played on any Sunday, anywhere, Sam, is about mistakes. And who's going to make the fewer mistakes?
3 wide receivers in for Carolina. Burline under pressure. Out to Brad Hoover. Fights his way up to the 37-yard line. It's very close to the first down marker. Robert Tate made the tackle, but a determined Brad Hoover May have gotten the first down, and he did. Good effort by Brad Hoover.
That's what he is. That's what Brad Hoover is. He's effort. Good awareness of knowing where the sticks were, fighting that little extra effort to pick up the first down.
And in Thomasville, North Carolina, the family's jumping up and down. Go Brad.
Well, they should be happy and proud.
Damian Craig in motion. Burline wants to go deep, and he does for Hankton. Intercepted, no, drop. Robert Griffith had it, but he dropped it.
That was a poor decision on the part of Burline.
Why do you say that, Phil?
Because Griffith was hanging over the top to that side, just waiting for it. He had Mangum right here. He should have thrown. See the safety right here? He's sitting over on this top, waiting, playing the ball for either side of those two. Griffith just went for the ball. He's over to that side, to the two-receiver side. He didn't see Mangum in the middle of the field. That's where he had to play.
I think he may have dropped it when Kenny Wright scraped by him. His own man may have knocked it out of his hands. Hoover on second down gets up across the 40-yard line. Chris Hovan with a tackle. Let's check out what Tampa Bay and Chicago are doing. Let's go to JB.
Hey, Sam, and without Mike Allstott in the backfield now, out with a sprained knee, look at Sean King. He has to do what? He has to rely on his own feet. Look at the dipping and doing. All turns out to be a 9-yard run for the score, and it's all tied in the third at 10. Back to Sam and a nifty footer himself, Bill Moss.
Isn't that what JB does, the dipping and doing in the studio with the guys?
He has to do everything he can to keep it all in line.
Burline checking off. They have to get to the 47 for a first down. Pressure. Incomplete. Throwing outside for Ahani Awezike. That play before.
He almost caught it again right there, and Awezike had to strip it down from him.
That pinballed around. Third punt of the game for Ken Walters. Another high one way up. Troy Walters takes it at the 14-yard line. 5 seconds hang time on a 41-yard punt by Ken Walter. We'll see Atlanta at San Francisco. On first down, Robert Smith. That's about a yard before the defense closes him down. Dante Culpepper has had an outstanding year. This is second year in the NFL. Look at the young quarterbacks in their second year who are starting. Donovan McNabb, Sean King in Tampa Bay. Had a look at him on the highlights moments ago. Culpepper's got so much around him that's really helped him. The running game, which is first in the NFL. The wide receivers in Carter and Moss.
That allows him to do what he's doing. Play quarterback. Concentrate on getting the ball to the receivers and working on his execution instead of having to carry the team.
4 wide receivers in, screen pass to Robert Smith. Picked up a couple of blocks and gets a first down up at the 31-yard line. Mike Minter took him out, but Robert Smith picks up the yardage. 11-yard pickup for the first down.
Now your quarterback can look pretty doggone good on plays just like that. Get the ball out to your playmakers, and you have them, and so you use them. But the one thing Culpepper's been excellent at, as we lose a shoe here. You know, we saw Jason Sehorn lose his pants, and now we got Robert Smith losing his shoe.
Tie him tight, guys. Robert Smith, 3 receptions, 70 yards.
Better watch out for those goalposts.
First down, Vikings. Play fake by Culpepper. To the sideline, overthrown. Randy Moss, the intended receiver. Doug Evans on the coverage. Randy Moss with the big touchdown catch, 36-yard reception in the first half. Has also had catches of 22 and 26 yards in the game. Robert Smith is back in. 3 wide receivers for Minnesota. Panthers have 5 defensive backs in. Smith, not much there. Actually lost a yard on the play. Sean Gilbert leading the charge on the defensive side.
You know, we're talking about, if we look at Carolina's offense and the backs don't help out. This is what I'm talking about by backs helping out. Watch Mo Williams stone the defensive lineman who popped free on that play. To me, that's an integral part of why Dante Culpepper is so successful. You see a lot of 2 tight end formations or 2 backs in the backfield helping out on pass protection to give him time just to concentrate on downfield.
On 3rd down, have to get to the 41. The pass to the sideline is caught by Carter. Another 1st down for Minnesota. The ball popped loose on the hit by Mike Minter. And the scramble is on as they wrestle at the bottom of the pile. Who will have it when they untangle? And the Vikings have it. Nervous moment for Denny Green. Vikings have already turned over 2 fumbles in the game.
Boy, Jimmy Hitchcock is not getting even with his old team. He gets his hips turned around. He just spun him around like a top. He worked him to the outside, 1 fake step back to the inside, and Jimmy Hitchcock was just spinning around in one spot. And there's a separation by Carter.
Minter with the hit. Popped the ball loose. It's recovered by Minnesota. Chris Carter, 7 catches, 123 yards. His 6th 100-yard game of the season. Robert Smith was the man who recovered the fumble. Chris Carter has had 100-yard games in 5 of the last 6.
He has 100. Moss, 84 right now. He's on his way to 100. That's pretty rare when you get 2 wide receivers on one team that can continually get over 100 yards in a game. They've done it a number of times.
Culpepper completes to the tight end, John Davis. Time for another update. Let's go back to the Fox Television Center to JB.
Sam, I heard Bill Moss's Denny Green in the wetsuit comment. So, Bill, with your tight pants are split trying to catch the elusive Sean King here. Look at him. I mean, just slipping and sliding. He takes it 9 yards for the score. That ties it up in Chicago late in the 3rd at 10. Back to Sam and the slippery Bill Moss.
Important game in the NFC Central race with Tampa 6-4. Slippery, huh? You were slippery?
Yeah, so slippery that I had deja vu there for a second.
Well, Williams, good hole. 1st down to the 32-yard line. Mike Minter on the tackle. Once again, the Vikings driving. Offense piling up yardage.
That left side of the line doing a nice job over there with Stuzzi. Stuzzi and Corbin Lucino or Lewinsky's in there. Watch that seal right there. And then outside, and then you get Lewinsky and Dixon in there. That's beautiful stuff.
Great blocking. Robert Smith back in. Vikings have now gone over 300 yards offense in 26 consecutive games. And 39 of their last 40. Culpepper, plenty of time, and completes it. Randy Moss at the 20-yard line. Eugene Robinson knocked him down. Randy Moss talks to him when he gets up.
Watch Moss work his zone. There's Matthew Hatchett. He's stacked behind him. And here comes Moss. Watch him sit right down in front of the safety and behind the linebackers. There's your zone. And he finds it and slams on the brakes. Dante Culpepper finds. That makes it look so simple.
97 yards for Randy Moss. 2 tight ends for the Vikings as they go 1st and 10 at the Carolina 19. Culpepper 18 for 22. Smith gets down to the 15-yard line. Well, we talked about the receivers. We talked about Robert Smith. Dante Culpepper 18 for 22, 308 yards, 2 touchdown passes. The only flaw has been 2 fumbles.
You know, that offensive line's really a sound group. At times they've struggled. Last year, at times they fell apart. They're even better this year than they were last year. Brad Badger's in at right guard for Dixon.
Moss in motion. Robert Smith wants to cut it back, but Sean Gilbert was there to stack it up and make the tackle. Nice play by Sean Gilbert.
They get the seal outside, but what Gilbert does is he just manhandles Lucina. And Gilbert he's a big guy. He's about 325 pounds. And Corbin Lucina tried to get the stretch on him up top, and Gilbert just pushed him down and closed.
11th play of this drive. You see what the Vikings have done on third down for the season and for the game. They've got to get to the 9-yard line for a first down. Culpepper with time goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Chris Carter. Put another one in the record books for Chris Carter.
The Minnesota Vikings are so good at wide receiver that they make it look like you didn't even practice for them the week before you play them.
15-yard touchdown pass, his 101st touchdown reception as a Minnesota Viking. He is second all-time in touchdown receptions to Jerry Rice. What a marvelous receiver. What a marvelous player Chris Carter has been. And Dante Culpepper continues to deliver his passes on target. 11 plays, 81 yards, and Culpepper to Carter for a touchdown. There was a holding penalty. The extra point is retried after 10 yards were stepped off.
And there's another
against
flag.
Minnesota, and there's a flag on the play, but this one's against Carolina. So the extra point try is good the second time. And the Vikings now have a 31-14 lead.
Offside on the defense. Try is good. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
The Minnesota offense, a machine, well-oiled, with a big lead.
People of Allstate, you're in good hands with Allstate. By Vertical Limit, a new film from Columbia Pictures opens everywhere December 8th. And by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Chris Carter needs 18 more yards in the game to reach 1,000 for the season.
They get in this bunch group right here. And here Doug Evans is playing on Carter. See what the bunch does when he gets in here. He's got to loop behind Eric Davis, and that's just enough separation. When you get in that bunch group, you really need to back off and let them get back off and then let them clarify what the routes are. Then you match up on them. When you get caught up inside on them like he did on Carter, that's when you lose them.
Even that close to the goal line?
Yeah, you have to. If you're going to get up there on them, then you better get up there and get a jam on them and run with them hard. But if you're going to decide after they declare what their routes are, you're better to back off. Give yourself time to get into position to cover them.
Mitch Berger to kick off. Michael Bates and Isaac Berger deep. Outside the numbers to Bates. Comes back to the middle of the field and cuts it up. The Vikings are there to bring him down at the 23-yard line. They wanted to stay away from getting burned by Bates on the returns, and they've done that. Meanwhile, Dante Culpepper has thrown 3 touchdowns.
Total Choice Program.
For the secondary of the Panthers.
Well, anytime you play the Vikings, it's tough. Here's that bunch group, and here's Evans right up here. Now, if you're going to play there, you got to jam him, but he doesn't. He needs to be back here with the rest of these guys so that he can come over and take him in the flat, and then he can declare and stay on Carter deep.
Panthers from the 23 with 3 wide receivers in. Brad Hoover up to the 27-yard line. Brought down by Ed McDaniel.
And they really, they have to run Hoover a little bit. Even though they're down by 16, 17 points here, they still have to stay with the run. Because if they don't stay with the run, then that's when Minnesota you'll be losing a quarterback.
They go with 5 wide receivers. Minnesota has 7 defensive backs in. Blitz coming. Berline gets rid of it, completes to Muhsin Muhammad. Nice run by Muhammad after the catch, and he's pulled out of bounds by Robert Tate up at the 49-yard line. Good play by Berline and Muhammad.
Well, they brought the blitz there to get some pressure on Berline, and he hits the hot route. And that hot route is right across the middle. Muhsin Muhammad and Kenny Wright is manned up on him. And he hits him in dead stride, and Muhsin's able to turn it upfield for some more.
23-yard pickup for Muhsin Muhammad. Ball up close to midfield. For Muhsin Muhammad, 4 catches, 47 yards. 3 wide receivers again for Carolina. Brad Hoover cuts it back. Nice run. Flag on the play as it gets down to the Minnesota 41-yard line.
They threw a flag.
Hoover's run well. Let's check out the flags here.
The field judge threw it from all the way in the back.
Looks like it's against Carolina. It is.
Hey, you know, that's all. The field judge is looking at the receivers on that side, okay? And that side is away from the run side. They shouldn't call offensive holding on a receiver, if it is the receiver outside here, on a play away.
Holding, 89, offense.
Yeah, you know what?
You know what?
That's hogwash to me.
It's Hani Awezike, second penalty of the game on the Panthers.
That's a guy wanting to throw a flag. The play is going to the other side. And the play is cut back. And it's coming in and cutting. And it's not even to the play side. And he got an arm around the leg as he was blocking low.
But what if the running back cut it?
What if? With a big head wings, it would be an eagle.
Penalty stands, and the Panthers are pushed back. Now Muhsin Muhammad on the catch, breaks a tackle, and is down to the Vikings 47-yard line. Let's get another update. Back to JB.
Hey, Sam and Bill, no give up on a part.
Back at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Sam Rose and Bill Moss and our Fox crew as the Vikings take a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. Second down for Carolina at the Minnesota 47. Brad Hoover straight ahead to the 43-yard line.
You know, Sam, the one thing that Carolina talked about all season long is that they haven't been able to consistently get 3 yards or more running the ball. You know, it's always varied for them. It's been 4 or 5 here, then -2. I think they have a guy in Hoover that can consistently get 3+ yards for you. Right then it was all bunched up, but as it was bunched up, he lowered his head and plowed forward.
Done a nice job. 15 carries, 53 yards in place of the injured Timanga Biaka Batuka. 4 wide receivers in for Carolina. And now the stop play. The officials blow the whistle. Minnesota has called a timeout.
Minnesota.
They have 12 on the field again.
Timeout.
They have 12 men on the field defensively. Kylie Wong noticed it, had to take a timeout. Dennis Green can't be happy about that.
Millions. By Capital One. Capital One. What's in your wallet? And by Dr. Pepper, your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better.
You know, they had 13 guys out on the field at this time, and that's a problem. As they ran 2 defensive backs in, and it means 2 linebackers have to come out. They didn't get that done. 13 guys from Minnesota were out there ready to defend that play.
Now it's 11 against 11. Panthers empty backfield. Berline under pressure. Randall's got him. 5th sack of the game. Second for John Randall.
That's just power right there. This whole pocket is going to come down around Steve Berline and John Randall. That's a bull rush right through number 70, Chris Terry, and right over the top of Berline. Terry was a defensive end in college. When Adam Meadows left to go to the pros, they convinced him to go to offensive tackle. He's only been playing there 4 years.
Ken Walter with his 4th punt of the game. Good high kick. Troy Walters has not had a chance to return a punt. Waits for a fair catch at the 11-yard line. 38-yard punt. And tonight on a new episode of the X-Files, Bill, Agent Scully and her new partner confront a creature so terrifying their first case together could be their last.
Yeah, it's this flying thing. It flies around and hovers. I saw previews of it. That looked pretty scary.
Catch the X-Files tonight at 9, 8 Central on Fox. Have we found Mulder yet?
I thought we found him last week, and there's a spaceship outside of Tampa Bay. We thought we found him in there, but he wasn't there.
Ball spotted at the 12-yard line. Vikings with a big lead.
How can that many things happen to one person?
I don't know. 3 wide receivers in. Robert Smith on first down, hops over one man, cuts it back, gets up to the 18-yard line. Sean Gilbert finally made the tackle.
Tell you, a guy who wishes he was Agent Mulder and nobody could find him. That's Berline.
Oh, man. There's Steve.
Look at him. He's got more contraptions. He's got an elbow sleeve on now. He's got a full body pads. They're not shoulder pads. They're full body pads.
Robert Smith, 18 carries, 91 yards. There he goes again. Squeezes through the hole, gets across the 20 where he's wrestled down by Dean Wells.
You know, a lot of people talk about Robert Smith. He looks bigger, and you know, they say, the Minnesota Vikings say, he put on 10 extra pounds and it's all muscle. And you know, I don't know whether that's really 10 pounds. Heck, I can sit down and put 10 pounds on in one meal. I don't know if that's really is why he's durable this year. But I can tell you this much, that he appears much more physical.
3rd and short. Culpepper finds the tight end, John Davis, at the 38-yard line. Well, when you're busy covering Moss and Carter and Robert Smith, up pops the tight end, John Davis, an 18-yard pickup.
Well, it was a nice grab by Davis, and you know what? It was an even nicer throw, because Dante Culpepper, watch the anticipation by Culpepper. He sees it, he likes the matchup, and he takes it. Now, the matchup is Davis and Minter, and Minter's playing right over top of him. I mean, he was running right alongside with him. But Dante Culpepper said, you know what, I'm going to take my shot anyway. Minter had his back turned, and it worked.
Culpepper 20 for 24 in the game. On first down, he rolls, he looks back the other way, and going deep. And he's got Matthew Hatchett, it's through his hands. Hatchett had Doug Evans beaten by a couple of yards, but it went through his hands.
Yeah, you know, this little bootleg, watch what this little bootleg does. This little bootleg by Dante Culpepper, watch what it does to the corner. The corner will drift over with him. See the little roll? Watch the corner come inside with the fake by Hatchett, taking him in there, and then it bang, it's right over the top. That is a design play to come to the backside off a bootleg. This worked for him earlier in the season. I saw it with Randy Moss, and they scored a touchdown off it late in the game. The little boot roll will draw the defensive backs over to that side. It's enough for separation.
That pass is deflected and falls incomplete. Dante Culpepper, as a career high, is closing into on a career high for yards passing. He has 341. His career high is 355, and you see the quarterback rating close to a perfect game for him.
And Jay Williams, with that batted ball, takes that perfect rating right away from him.
3 wide receivers. Have to get to the 49 for a first down. Blitz coming. Complete to Hatchett. Cuts it upfield, and is down at the 46-yard line, short of a first down. Mike Minter, number 30, a strong safety with help from Eugene Robinson, bringing Hatchett down short of the first down marker, and the Vikings are forced to punt. Long way to come back for the Panthers, but still within striking distance. Mitch Berger is deep to punt. Second punt of the game. Ahani Awezike deep for Carolina.
Easy for you to say.
Berger, line drive kick. Awezike lets it bounce, And it goes through the end zone for a touchdown. A touchback, excuse me. 54-yard punt. A net of 34 as the Panthers start from the 20-yard line.
You want to talk about a heck of a special teams player? Chris Walsh is really something else. He's the team's 4th wide receiver, but he's made his living on special teams. This is a guy who's wound for sound all the time. Other units know about him, and they try to seek him out. He learned all that intensity as a youngster up in Buffalo under Steve Tasker.
Empty backfield, Carolina on first down. Outside to Bates, and he dropped it. Michael Bates, who started at running back on the play, shifted out to wide receiver and dropped the pass.
There's your Walsh. Leads all NFL wide receivers in tackles. 14 special teams tackles. That means he's on kickoff coverage, punt coverage. He's running down there, busting up wedges, dodging blocks, trying to tackle ball carriers. He's a wide receiver, but he has the mentality of a defensive guy. He wants to run down there and stick somebody.
Carolina with 3 wide receivers. They're without Donald Hayes, who's out with a groin pull, will not return. Berline in trouble. Steps up and completes it to the tight end, Chris Mangum. Up to the 32-yard line. It's good for a first down.
You know, Berline isn't a scramble guy. He's never been a guy that's you run around and make something happen like the modern-day quarterback as we're seeing the young guys in the league. But what he is good at is just mobility in the pocket. He buys himself time by a 1 step here to the left, 1 step to the right, 1 step forward. He's real good at just working in the zone of that pocket and creating time for himself.
And seeing through the rushers to find the receiver. Here's Hoover cutting it back. Up across the 35. Wayne Rudd made the tackle. Carolina's next game will be a week from tomorrow at home against Green Bay. And Green Bay is having a strong game today, leading in the 4th quarter against Indianapolis 19-10 as the Pack tries to stay alive in the NFC Central. Kylie Wong went to the sideline with a shoulder problem. Damian Craig in motion. Empty backfield. Berline gets some time over the middle. Chris Mangum, the tight end. Wrestled down close to the 40-yard line.
A little confusion amongst the linebackers for the Minnesota Vikings as to whom they had to cover. The last second, Dwayne Rudd had to run outside to get on the wide receiver to the weak side.
Jim Nelson, number 56, is in for Kylie Wong. 24-yard pickup on the last play. Panthers at the Vikings 40-yard line. Brad Hoover gets about 2 on the play. Talance Sawyer in on the tackle.
And that Talance Sawyer, as I said earlier, I think he's the best defensive lineman out there for the Vikings, and he has been all season long. And he's very explosive. He jumps up and outside Geno James and then brings it right back in underneath and flattens out. If you're going to jump to a side as a defensive lineman, you have to be able to have the quickness to, as soon as you establish that you jump that gap, to close back inside.
Even better than Randall?
Yeah, this year I really think he's been explosive.
Empty backfield again on 2nd and 8. Everybody out. Berline gets rid of it. Muhsin Muhammad, big pickup. Across the 20-yard line, finally pulled down by Tyrone Carter. Short drops by Berline.
Well, that's what happens when you protect Berline. Just give him some kind of time back there. Don't let you come clean. Don't let you just sit on your 3rd sack and get dumped. Just give him some time, and every time he's had time, he's made plays. On that last play, they brought Kylie Wong on the blitz, and it got picked up. And that gave them time, and it also left the middle of the field open, which Berline found his receiver.
5 sacks for the Vikings. This time he finds the tight end Chris Mangum close to the 15-yard line. Robert Griffith on the tackle. 4th catch of the game for the tight end Chris Mangum as they look for someone to pick up the slack for the missing All-Pro Wesley Walls, who went down with an ACL injury. He has not had surgery yet, but that's a tough one. A loss of a great player in Wesley Walls.
Well, this is the area of the field that Wesley Walls was so valuable to. Once you get inside the 20, he can make it happen.
4 wide receivers for Carolina on 2nd and 5. Furline gets time, nobody open, and got about a yard. Chris Hovan brought him down.
You know, and as a defensive lineman for Hovan, he's look, first thing he does, he looks to the sidelines. You see him looking at the sidelines? Because he's looking for the line of scrimmage marker. He wants to see where the quarterback got dumped. Otherwise, all that effort just ends up in the tackle stats. And who, you know, if you have 36 tackles or 7 tackles, no big deal. But if you have 5 sacks, maybe 6 sacks, then that's a big deal.
Like that, right? Have to get to the 10-yard line for a first down. Furline, pump fake, throwing for the corner, flag on the play.
Yeah, and they got Dishman again.
Interference on Chris Dishman. He was throwing for Muhsin Mohammed. And Dishman, who's been coming in on nickel situations, playing outside, was the man called for interference.
And I think that's when you play the Vikings, I think that's what you do. If you get the matchup outside with Dishman, you just throw the ball there.
25, defense, first down.
He's a long way away from his Pro Bowl years he once had. In the last several years he's been playing in the league, he has struggled covering. And what he does is he cheats, like right there. He'll look back inside at the quarterback, and then when his receiver's around, he grabs and holds on.
Kenny Wright is taken over as the starter. 1st and goal for Carolina at the 1. 3 tight ends in. Hoover bumped into his own man, Chris Terry, and comes up short of the goal line. The big tackle, the right tackle, Chris Terry was pulling, and Hoover bumped into him.
Yeah, I think Terry got a little too deep that time. As he pulled to lead the way up front, I think he might have got knocked off by the defensive lineman, and he did right there. Tony Ball got the push. Tony Williams got the push. Tony Ball. I was thinking about Jerry Ball, the old Jerry Ball. But you know what? Look at the size of him. He reminds you of Jerry Ball in there. Tony Williams got the push on Terry. And that took him out of it.
2nd and goal at the 1. 3 tight ends. Hetherington. He comes up short.
I think that was Williams down there in the mix of it again. I think 94 got that push in there.
Vikings looked like they got real low on that, Bill.
Well, that's what you have to do down there in the goal line. Watch right in the middle. Watch 94. He's going to come through right in here. See the penetration? And that's the 2nd time in a row that he's been able to do that. And you know what? And all the defensive linemen for the Minnesota Vikings, they are good at their first step in creating a new line of scrimmage.
3rd and goal at the 1. Hoover again to the goal line. There's a flag on the play. He came up short again. Vikings doing a great job in the middle.
I think they're going to get a false start.
Prior to the snap, false start, 86, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
It's on Chris Mangum, the tight end. The Panthers have pushed back to the 6. Time growing short on Carolina. As George Seifert looks on. Yeah, there's the move.
That little flinch right there is enough to... You know, it's that crowd noise down there, too. Those fans are loud. He's the end man on the line. He couldn't hear anything Burline's saying. All he hears is people yelling in that doggone horn.
3rd and goal. Hetherington in motion.
What the heck? Hetherington crossed the line of scrimmage.
Went right across the line of scrimmage. And they push him back 5 more yards.
Prior to the snap.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Hetherington came in motion out of the backfield.
Prior to the snap, false start, 44, offense, 5 yards.
Oh, he comes out here, and then he's going to keep coming and cross the line of scrimmage. He thinks he hears a snap count, but Berline's saying, what in the heck are you doing?
So they've gone from the 1 to the 11. 3 wide receivers on 3rd down. The pump fake. Berline in trouble. Gets rid of it. It's incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. John Burrow with the pressure on Steve Berline. There's number 91. And the field goal kicking unit has come on for Carolina. Joe Nedney 17 for 18 with Carolina. He started the season with Denver.
I gotta believe I thought that Hovan was offsides on that play, Sam. He looked like he jumped the snap count and was in the middle again, and I think they got away with one. Carolina
leaves Lisa longing for home.
The family sitting down to dinner. Aww.
You call that thing great?
The Simpsons, all new 8/7 Central tonight on Fox.
Joe Nedney set to kick off, and Minnesota anticipating an onside kick. They've got Randy Moss out there. They've got Chris Carter out there. They've got 2 tight ends, a couple of running backs. Nedney kicks it deep. And it is through the end zone for a touchback. So the Vikings start from the 20 with 4:20 to go in the 4th quarter, and Minnesota leading 31-17. This season in the playoffs, it's up to the defense to show improvement.
And they've done that today. They really stepped up and met the challenge today. That goal line stand down there, I think, was really exceptional.
Big plays by Tony Williams at the goal line. Here's Minnesota's offense from the 20 with 2 tight ends. Moss and Carter the wide receivers. Robert Smith carries. Eugene Robinson takes him down. Short pickup on the play.
You know, the first 2 plays on this goal line, Tony Williams down below, just pushing the middle of the pile back. Bart Nesbitt. And then the pressure on Berline on 3rd down. And they also got away with this one right here. I think Hovan was offsides, although he does listen to that snap count and get a pretty good jump, but I thought that was just a smidgen early.
Would have been too perfect, right?
You know, another thing they wanted to work on, too, was scoring more points. They didn't feel offensively that they were scoring enough points.
Too much movement? Let's see who moved first. Coming across, we think it was Corey Stringer, the right tackle.
Prior to the snap, false start, 77, offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
And it was. There's Sherm Lewis, his first year as offensive coordinator of the Vikings.
Yeah, that's been an adjustment for him because he's had so many years in that West Coast offense where it's all the timing routes and the slants and everything's based on timing. And coming here, you know, all the deep stuff and all the things you have to do to get the ball downfield to Moss and Carter. It's been a pleasant adjustment. The one thing he didn't know how good. It's been a pleasant adjustment. The one thing he didn't know how good Robert Smith was. And he also said that he's never been around an offensive line this good.
3 wide receivers for Minnesota. Culpepper out of the shotgun. Throws outside, completes to Randy Moss. Broke 1 tackle, is brought down at the 25-yard line. Minnesota Vikings, if they hold on, will go to 9-2. Detroit is leading late in the 4th quarter over the Giants. They'll be 7-4. Tampa Bay is trailing in Chicago. Green Bay is leading over Indianapolis, though the Colts have closed to within 2 points after they led 19-3. And of course, a big day, Thanksgiving Day. Minnesota will be in Dallas. And we've got that game for you right here on Fox. It all begins with the best pregame show anywhere with JB, Terry, Chris, and Howie. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. And then Turkey Day with Pat Summerall and John Madden. Minnesota at Dallas, the game to watch.
Talking about that offense and talking about Minnesota and the things that they wanted to do today, they've done it. You know, they scored 31 points. Sherm said, we're not scoring enough points. We need to score more points. They've done that. And if you take away the 2 fumbles that they had, they may have 50 points because they were well on their way on those drives as well.
Randy Moss has gone over 100 yards receiving today. 5 catches, 106 yards. His 6th 100-yard game season. earlier went over 1,000 yards for the season. Culpepper.
Look at
With
Carter.
time deep for Chris Carter, just a little too far. Doug Evans covering him on the play, but Carter was out there. That just missed.
And that's a tough catch for a wide receiver, the over-the-shoulder catch. And that time, Chris had to adjust twice over the shoulder. He adjusted his route, and he got past Evans. He looked back one side, then he had to turn back and look over the other shoulder. And while you're doing that, the ball was just inches out in front of his fingertips.
So now Carolina got what they wanted. They will get the ball back, and Minnesota didn't use up too much clock on that possession. Mitch Berger's third punt of the game. A wobbly low liner taken by Awezike at the 30. He's got room to return. A good one for Hani Awezike. And he is down in Minnesota territory at the 42-yard line. 28-yard return for Hani Awezike. 44-yard punt, but it was low, and Awezike able to return. And we'll find out who's got the best short game on Thursday. Fred Couples, Lee Trevino, Nancy Lopez, even Roger Clemens, and some of the world's top sharpshooters from the PGA, LPGA, and senior tours try to find the cup for $1 million payday. The Sun Microsystems Par 3 Challenge, Thanksgiving Day at 1:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox.
Carolina has a lot of golfers on their team.
Oh, yes, they do.
A lot of good ones.
Hetherington, who just caught it, he's a one handicap, and he gets to the 25-yard line. Here's Carolina threatening again. Nice catch and run by Chris Hetherington. Berline, no huddle offense. Berline gets time, waiting for someone to come open. He throws it away. Threw it out of bounds, ran out of the pocket. Carl Hankton is playing in place of the injured Donald Hayes. Hayes pulled a groin. And another concern, injury concern for the Carolina offense.
They got Gabe Northern's been in there. He's been in there for John Randall this series. I'll tell you, as a defensive lineman, in games like this, when you have a comfortable lead and an ailing offensive line, this is called pad game, because you just want to pad your stats.
Fred Robbins, number 98, also in for Minnesota. Short to Hetherington over the middle. He gets down to the 13-yard line. That's a first down for Carolina. Again, the hurry-up offense. Hetherington's done a good job catching the ball out of the backfield. Berline in trouble, throws it away. Randy Moss over 100 yards. Chris Carter over 100 yards.
It's the seventh time. Yeah, since '98, when these two first came together, that both of them have gone over 100 in the same game.
The best duo in the NFL. And Dante Culpepper has been able to get the ball to them. Hetherington's got 5 catches for 48 yards out of the backfield. Second down. Berline steps up, drops it off, and it's intercepted by Kylie Wong. Wong on the return. Tossed it to Kenny Wright, who dropped it and picked it up and is out of bounds up at the 47-yard line. It went through the hands of Brad Hoover.
It sure did.
And Wong took it for the interception.
Talance Sawyer got some pressure on Berline as he gets rid of this ball, but the ball does get there. It gets in and out of Hoover's hands over his shoulder and falls right into the arms of Kylie Wong.
And he didn't want to run with it. Look at this.
The ball was just a little bit behind Hoover, and it hit him in the shoulder. That's when it bounced back. Well, no, he wanted to run with it, but he just realized his speed. He knew the limitations of his speed.
I see.
And saw who was chasing him.
And you can see the frustration of Steve Berline. Wong with the interception, the first of his NFL career. And the Vikings at the 48 with 2:14 remaining, about to put this one away. Robert Smith goes over 100 yards.
Everybody's getting 100.
Oh, man. 6th 100-yard game this season rushing.
Timeout. Carolina, 3rd and final 10. Team timeout, 30-second timeout.
Carolina calls time. Steve Berline just shaking his head at what's happened. 3 turnovers in the game. And here they go, the big play guys. Robert Smith over 100 yards rushing. Randy Moss and Chris Carter over 100 yards receiving. And the offense over 400 yards for Minnesota.
And see, and then of course the yards passing that Dante Culpepper has and the numbers he has, and everybody's happy. So, you know, everyone says, well, you know, I got all this problem. I don't have enough balls to go around to all my star players. Minnesota certainly does.
Here's a big surprise. Chicago defeated Tampa Bay 13-10.
So
Tampa Bay is 6-5.
Their cold weather streak stays alive for Tampa Bay.
They hurt people in cold weather. Tampa Bay has trouble in the cold weather cities. Culpepper, 22 for 29, 357 yards. That's a career high for him. Robert Smith on the carry. Gets across the 45 as we come down to the 2-minute warning. The Minnesota Vikings 2 minutes away from an 9-2 record. Frisco, some of you will see that game. 3rd and 2 for the Vikes. Robert Smith, good tackle by the middle linebacker. Lester Towns took him down. John Randall, 2 sacks in the game, 5.5 on the season. He's trying to get to 10 for the 9th consecutive year, which would tie him with the man across the other sideline, Reggie White, who did it 9 times in a row.
Well, if he wants to get those numbers, I suggest he put that helmet back on and get out there. His chances would increase greatly.
Today's game produced by Michael Burks, directed by Andy Kindle, associate director Rich Dewey, broadcast associate Tom Yohe, technical producer David Graham, studio show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Our thanks to our spotter in the booth, Gary Lynn, our statistician in the booth, Emmett McGuire, statistician in the control room, Mark Sosna, and on the Fox box, Ty Yohe. Thanks to our great crew for an excellent job. We want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Great family day. Hope you enjoy it.
Still 4th down.
Good move by Minnesota, taking the delay, letting the clock run down. That Carolina is out of timeouts. Take more time off the clock on their possession here. And for Minnesota, really, I think that they're in a race with the Rams for home field advantage in the playoffs. And I think every single game counts. You want to win them, you know, you don't want to drop one because of the overall record. You want that home field advantage and make the Rams, if they get to that situation, come through you.
The Rams play home tomorrow night against Washington. Flags go down. Minnesota will play in St. Louis December the 10th. In a game on Fox. We'll check out the flags after the kick went through the end zone. For George Seifert, it's been a disappointing season as his team will go 4-7. They came into this season very optimistic.
Offside on the defense.
Well, that'll give back the 5 yards.
5 yards and re-kick.
For Denny Green.
An outstanding year.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I don't think anybody that viewed football coming into the preseason had any thoughts or aspirations that the Minnesota Vikings would be where they are right now. And I think you can only credit Denny Green for that.
And the question will still be, can the defense rise up and play at a level that can get them a long ways in the playoffs? Mitch Berger for the punt with 1:06 remaining in the game. And it boomed right through the end zone once again. And it'll be a touchback, and the Panthers get one last chance with just under a minute to go at the 20-yard line. In less than a minute, this will be the standings in the NFC Central. Detroit will go likely to go 7-4. They're leading by 10 points over the Giants with 1:40 to go in that game. Green Bay is leading late against Indianapolis in a very tight game. So Chicago coming through with a win over Tampa Bay. Vikings defense, 5 sacks in the game. 2 by Talance Sawyer, 2 by John Randall. Berline gets some time and looks and throws, and it's broken up. Good play by Waswa Surwanga. Second-year man out of UCLA. He's been in situations where Carolina's used 5 wide receivers, and Minnesota has gone with 7 defensive backs. Gabe Northern, Fred Robbins, and Talance Sawyer on the front line for Minnesota, with 7 defensive backs in. Carolina hopes they'll get Tamanga Biaka-Patuka back for their next game at home against Green Bay a week from Monday night. Berline under pressure, gets rid of it to Hetherington. Up to the 30-yard line. He's got a first down. Kylie Wong knocked him down. 6th catch of the game for Chris Hetherington.
I'll tell you who Carolina should hope to get back to is Clarence Jones, the tackle.
Yeah.
Having Biaka-Patuka will be back will be nice. It'll be added benefit. But Hetherington and Hoover are fine in there. You have to find some people that are going to protect the quarterback.
Berline gets time. Rolling and looking and throwing and almost intercepted by Robert Griffith as he closed quickly in front of the intended receiver, Carl Hankton.
You know, that's just one area that the defense has been working extremely hard at, is getting these picks. They've been bounced off. They've dropped a ton of them, had opportunities to. They have 2 interceptions today, but it's been a long spell since they've had them.
Griffith had 2 in his hands today. He's going to dream about tonight.
You know, they work on it in practice all the time. They have an interception drill where the coach sits back there and he shuffles around like a quarterback and throws the ball up in the air, and they work on converging and getting the pick.
On second down, Berline gets rid of it and completes to Isaac Bird up to the 39-yard line. Kenny Wright took him down. And that's it. No timeouts remaining. The final seconds tick off. Berline spikes. He wants one more play with 2 seconds to go. He won't give up. He won't give up. Hear the fan reaction. But Berline is a fighter, a battler, as good a competitor as you'll find anywhere.
And a miraculous healer.
He takes a pounding. 5 more sacks given up by Carolina. 49 on the season. That's an NFL high. And Berline has been sacked 45 times. But he has been in there for virtually every play this season. Last play of the game. The long throw down the field. Up they go. And Griffith missed another one.
You can't be a body catcher. He's trying to catch those things in his body. He's going to catch them with his hands.
Nevertheless, the Vikings with great star power. Robert Smith, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, and throw in Dante Culpepper, and they win it 31-17.